Welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at a couple of upcoming races in Hong Kong and try to identify the key element of each race that we might look back on afterwards as having been the path to finding the winner. Well, on Sunday it's Champions Day at Sha Tin, and if you go to the Hong Kong Jockey Club website, I'm sure you'll find a lot of very useful preview information on the Group 1 races there. So I'm going to step around those and have a look at a couple of the events on the support card. The first of them is race 2, and our winning factor here, the draw. Now I think when you take a look at the field here, it comes down to just 3 runners in my view. The 2 impressive debutants, John Moore's Dan Control and Golden 60 from Francis Loy's yard, and also a chance to the bottom weight, Aero Happiness. Well, Aero Happiness has had a few issues on and off, and he hasn't been the punter's friend lately with some defeats as favourite. He's got a chance here, but the ones I want to look at more closely are those 2 horses who won at the first time of asking, and that's Dan Control and Golden 60. And if you have a look at the graphic here, we're going to take a look at the first start horses that have won for the John Moore and Francis Loy yards. Now this is going back a little over 10 years. And we often see John Moore horses win their first start, and have a look on the right hand side to where a lot of them end up. Group 1 and Group 3 horses much higher up in grade, whereas Francis Loy doesn't win as often first start, and normally they aren't horses with quite the same scope going forward. So that weighs in favour of Dan Control in this race, and we're going to have a look at the first start wins by both of these horses. Firstly, Dan Control, and we go back to race 498, and Zach Purton had him out of the gates quickly into a trailing position behind the leaders, and then when they turned into the straight he pounced, did it with some authority, and came away for a clear, decisive victory, a horse going somewhere. Now we can look also at race 541 2 weeks later in Class 4 when Golden 60 made his racecourse debut. Now he wasn't as fast out of the gates on this occasion, but his inside draw allowed him to get up the inside and also get into a good trailing position before they turned for home. And then he showed a really nice turn of foot, also the look of a promising horse as he came away to score pretty easily. Now Dan Control stays in Class 3, whereas Golden 60 rises in class off that win. And I have identified on this show in the past what a strong factor, positive factor that is for a horse rising in class off a win. So I don't think there's really a great deal between these horses, so we have to look for a way to separate them. And if you remember the start of each of those replays, Dan Control sharp from the gates, while Golden 60 was a little slow to jump, and that's something we've seen from him in trials as well, and that looks a key difference on the map. As you see here, Dan Control drawn low again, he'll bounce out and be in the right position, and Golden 60 now has barrier 12 instead of barrier 2, and a slow step away for him could cost him dearly for position, but even a clean jump could be a little bit sticky for him. So the tip in race 2, Dan Control. His winning factor, the draw. I think both of these look promising horses. Perhaps being from the John Moore yard, Dan Control might be the one with more scope as we go forward, but I think the key element here is the barriers. Golden 60 can step away a little slowly, whereas Dan Control looks almost guaranteed the perfect run. The second race we're going to take a look at on Sunday at Sha Tin is race 5, and the winning factor here, the map. Now when we take a look at a lot of these support races on Sunday, this is another event with quite a number of horses with last start wins and a little bit of upside to them, including horses like Not Usual Talent, Splendour and Gold, and Champion Supreme, a very impressive winner at his last outing. But the horse I'm most interested in looking at is a last start 9th, and that's Pakistan Friend. Now it was quite well publicised a little while back when the Pakistan horses were transferred out of Tony Cruz's yard and across to Paul O'Sullivan, including Pakistan Star and this guy, Pakistan Friend. One of the things we've grown used to over the years is Paul O'Sullivan and horses first up. It's really not much of a betting plan, to be honest, and we're going to see a graphic to that effect in a minute. And Paul O'Sullivan's horses having their first run for him, whether they're first starters in Hong Kong or stable transfers, Paul ranks well down the list. He likes to, I guess, gets to find out about these horses, and maybe they need a little bit of a fitness run to get up to speed. But normally his horses are not the ones to follow first start in a race, as you can see here. He ranks well down the list with first start winners. However, O'Sullivan's horses do get better very quickly with racing, and he has quite a good record with horses second start. So instead of showing you his 9th last start Pakistan Friend when he was drawn wide 1400 metres and got back out of the race, I'm going to show you what he can do when this horse is on song. And we're going to go back to December, and on this occasion he drew inside. It was the same course and distance as he finds on Sunday, and he was able to take up a forward position, and in this event he was able to beat a pretty decent horse, Green Luck, over the same course and distance. And as you can see here, he's up on the pace instead of being back and wide where he was last time. And I think when we look at the map, that's where he's going to be again on Sunday from a good draw. I think he's going to be up on the speed, possibly not leading. There are a couple of leaders drawn out wide who will look to cross over the field, but Huey Bowman should be able to give him a nice run just behind them, while a couple of his main dangers, Splendor and Gold and Champion Supreme, they're drawn awkwardly this time. They'll be the ones getting back with a bit to do. So the tip in race 5, Pakistan Friend. His winning factor, the map. I'm expecting big improvement from this horse, second start for Paul O'Sullivan, as we often see with that yard's horses. But I think the map is also going to allow him to show the benefits of that improvement, because he's going to be in the right spot and a couple of his major rivals are going to have a little bit of work to do. Well, that's it from the winning factor this week. Enjoy the Group 1s on Sunday. We'll see you next time.